back to Estancia San Carlos, and it's July and we have an awful lot of sugar to get sold. So we're going to have to lease a truck. Yes, actually peak price for sugar. So we'll get as much as we can sold, and then we'll sell the last off around harvest time, which we are going to get to today. And we're going to be using the more cheaty forage harvester header this time to save a bit of time. But first we're going to lease the same Mack truck again, so $4,000 for that, and the same low loader. So I don't remember what this cost. $1,500. So yeah, this is the penultimate video. There'll be a video after this where I'm just going to kind of do a wrap up of what we've learned from doing this and go over some of the finances for the 2 years that we've done this. It's pretty positive. It's pretty positive. I have prepped that video. So yeah, we've still got 138,000 litres of sugarcane to process. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to find a way to integrate this into more of how I play, but it doesn't really fit with the fact that I mostly play UK and maybe European maps, mostly UK maps at the moment. So yeah, didn't really work with that. We don't grow much sugarcane here. Random story, I went on holiday to the Dominican Republic many years ago, and part of one of the day trips we did was to a sugarcane plantation, and raw sugarcane is incredibly tasty, but incredibly bad for you. Yeah, really random fact. So let's get the first load of this sold. This fill point is not big enough for this trailer. Whichever way I put it in, it does not fit. Yes, I know. Normally I would turn traffic off for this as well. Sorry, we're just going to run this person over, which is kind of unfortunate, I guess. It's a good job it's not GTA. But yeah, we'll get this sold and then get into harvesting. This has been... I kind of knew that sugarcane was profitable. It was pretty obvious from the... I did a video ages ago on the kind of the most profitable crops, and sugarcane was near the top. It was pretty obvious it was going to make money, unlike grapes. And it was pretty obvious to me when we started the grapes one that grapes weren't going to make money. That's why I hadn't used them on a series I planned to, because I did a quick bit of maths and worked out that they weren't going to work. In fact, I'd started to record that mini series a long time ago, and it was just so time consuming that I gave up on it, because I was using Courseplay, but I'd set it all up quite badly. So yeah, there were no surprises. I think the thing with Farm Sim is one of the things Giants have done very well is it's a time versus reward thing. I suspect it all works out pretty evenly in the end. So if you're using all of the equipment that is representative of how things done, so if you're using a real sugarcane harvester, a real sugarcane planter, then it all takes a long time, and because it takes a long time, you get rewarded more, versus, you know, combining a field of wheat with a 15-meter header. It's quick, you make a bit, you make less profit. So yeah, that's, I think it's well set up like that. I saw the same thing. So let's just have a look at how much we've made selling that. So another $70,000, which is pretty nice. So we're sitting pretty comfortable in the cash now. Yeah, I did a field of poplars on a video which would have come out yesterday, and yeah, that was the same. We make quite a lot of money from it, but it's quite time consuming. So all the sugar is processed now. We have 40,000 litres of sugar sat there. The price is not so good at the moment, so I'm going to hang on to it. And our sugarcane is ready for its second harvest. So let's get some kit at least. Now, I did say that that this was going to be, this might work out cheaper because it's quicker. Actually, leasing a forage harvester is more expensive than the sugarcane harvester. So actually, it all kind of works out the same in the end. Yeah, you know, it's The sugarcane harvester is a couple £100,000 more, so the leasing costs are higher. But you only use it for less time. So I think in the end, it was pretty. I think there was about a 20% difference in the total cost of harvesting, which sounds a lot, but yeah. So I think it cost us about 40 grand to harvest with the Yagto sugarcane harvester that we used, versus about 35, I think it was, for this in the end. Yeah, so the numbers are quite big. The numbers get quite big, and so the difference is actually not that massive in overall. So I am going to use the same truck again. It worked well. I was thinking about using the new Lizard end dump trailers, but they would have cost a lot more to lease, and this is about kind of looking at the profitability. So leasing something cheap is sensible. The reason I want to use those is they have a built-in GT capacity of 500,000 litres, which is what we want. We want a 500,000 litre capacity to be able to get this crop harvested in a sensible number of trailers. So we're using the one that I edited that goes with this truck. So yeah, I guess that's one thing you might want to consider when you're doing sugarcane, is having a huge capacity trailer. And they have done this once in a proper series, and I think I had the harvester. I was using the pull behind harvester. It was running on Horseplay, and I was constantly swapping trailers to take them to sell. I mean, the nice thing is if you're not doing the production side, the price for sugarcane peaks at harvest, so you can just take it to, you can just sell it out of the field. So that is a bonus. Who needs course plate again to run the harvester? I did ponder using auto drive to do the carting, and I could run a harvester, but this was the kind of the easiest way to get it done quickly, and speed was important with getting this job done, just because it is quite time consuming. I say it's definitely a factor. I think if you're playing, if either you don't care about regionality of crops, or you're playing on a map where sugarcane is sensible, you maybe scale the field. You'll see in the next video the pretty insane amount of profit we've made in 2 years on this field. It's not a huge field, but it's not small. So yeah, probably better to do a smaller area, although there is a high cost of entry, I guess, in terms of the kit, unless you've already got a forage harvester and you just lease the header, and it's not so bad. I don't know if any of the older, cheaper forage harvesters have enough horsepower to run that header. I didn't look at that, but that would be another way of doing it on a budget. I don't actually remember how much horsepower it needs. So anyway, let's get stuck in. I've set this on, I don't remember how many headlands I did actually. I think I did quite a few. Excuse me, I might not have even set horseplay up at this point. I thought I had, but obviously I have not. So let's find out how many headlands I did. Not tools. Maybe I only did 2 headlands. Yeah, I only did 2 headlands. Fair enough. I guess it's reducing the uncut stuff on the turns. You could do square turns, but I have found quite a lot that Horseplay is really slow on square turns. The mistake that I made is, in my haste, I leased the harvester with a short pipe, and nobody likes a short pipe, so I did actually go in afterwards and change it so that it had the long pipe, because it was just a bit frustrating to deal with the pipe being too short. Annoyingly, the game had auto-saved, so I couldn't go back and just redo everything. But I would recommend a longer pipe for more satisfaction. So basically now I'm just going to settle in to get this harvested. The next video, the kind of the final video, is going to follow along in a few days' time, say I've got it prepped, it's going to be classic PowerPoint video going through basically what we did and how much money we made. That's yeah, was kind of the point of this. It's taken me longer than I had hoped to get all of this done. I think can probably say at this point that the needs plan thing is right. So although once you've harvested, the field goes to a needs planning state, that doesn't appear to affect the yield that we get off of here. So yeah, that's cool. It's something that did concern me after the first harvest, but turns out nope, it's not a problem, which is good. So thank you to whoever pointed that out to me. Also, I was looking back at how we treated the field, and it was pretty much the same in both cases. So the order of things was slightly differently, but one was done with a weeder to get the weeds out, one was done with a hoe, so I assume they have a similar effect on yield. Maybe not, but they're both mechanical, so no herbicide used. Both had double application of fertilizer, achieved differently, but that shouldn't matter. So yeah, it's a pretty good like-for-like comparison, I think. I guess the bit with this is the numbers are big, and you do get some variation. I'm not sure how that's introduced, whether it's just, naturally you miss a few bits and that kind of thing, or whether there is some variation in the game. But I have found, if you harvested the same size area of crop twice, you get a different answer. So there's a thing. Yeah, so the variation we see might just be natural variation due to how the game works. But we are almost full on our second trailer load, I believe this is. So yeah, we're coming up on 1 million litres of crop, which is kind of cool. A seamless edit there. Yeah, we're coming up on 1 million litres harvested. We've got not much of the field left. Just looking at something. I'm not sure what. But yeah. We got, off the first time we harvested this, I think we got 1,079 litres, something like that. And I have found, and I did use it last time, having GPS set to the same working width and at a point where the harvester will feed into it easily is so much better for doing this kind of thing. I don't think I'd use it for forage harvesting if I'm carting, but I should, because it works really well. It's definitely much easier to stay on course, particularly, I've got GPS on, I've got cruise control on, and I can pretty much just sit back and chill. I think someone did comment when I said about it last time that actually some of the karting trucks that I used do have GPS on them for this reason, and I guess it makes sense. If you're doing these huge fields in the US, being able to just stick auto steer on in a straight line makes real sense. And I guess these days there's a lot of aftermarket auto steer you can add to things, and the two that I often reference are Joe Seals uses one. His is a kind of open source stuff that runs on a Windows tablet, I think, obviously with some hardware, and then Ollie Blogs has one on his ride-on lawnmower. I think they use it on other stuff as well, which didn't cost him that much, and that's differential GPS. So yeah, I guess it's not that unrealistic that you could add it to something like this if you were doing, I guess if you're running a forage contracting business, you'd be doing so much karting like this that it makes sense to make life easier for everyone, because if both are running on GPS, everything's going to be pretty consistent, I guess, in terms of spacing and things, and makes it easier to fire it into the trailer. So I think we've got 3-ish rows left. At this point, I really wasn't sure whether we would get more, less, or the same. It was quite difficult to judge whether we would be better or not. And my driving is not, it would appear. Yeah, the long pipe wasn't maybe quite long enough. I'm not sure whether the throw on this forage harvester is not huge. Or the trailer, could be the trailer. I've definitely had easier foraging setups to run, but it was also definitely much quicker than using the prop harvester. We're at 0.7 of an hour on the carting truck, so the forage harvester is going to be on about the same. So yeah, I think it took 2.5 hours to do it properly. I think it was less than an hour to do it this way, so huge difference. And it's triple the working width, so yeah, it's going to be quicker. And it was also somewhat easier to keep it moving because it's the forage harvester and it fires the sugar cane, in this case, into the trailer rather than the prop harvester, which just kind of drops it in, I guess. And so there's a bit more freedom there as well, which is quite nice. Countered by the much wider header. So we are over where we were before, by a nice little way. Again, I'm not sure if this is just the variance on how much you get out of a field when you harvest it. There definitely is some variance. I've seen it in other testing that I've done, where I've done, tested equivalent things and you get a slight difference in yield. So, but we have got more, which is nice, which means more money. So what I'm not going to do is do what I've done this time and work through the year selling the crop in stages. For the summary video, I'm going to assume a kind of average price for we can't process everything we've got off the field with one sugar production. We could have brought another one and that would have covered it. I haven't done that. So what we're going to do is do the same thing. We're going to max out the sugar production. We're going to assume we match out the sugar production, and then the rest will be sold at the current price, theoretically. So yeah, that's the way I've done it. Might not be the way you would do it, but that's what I've assumed. We just keep the one production running, and that means about half the yield will go through the production and about half will be sold. So yeah, you can see we're looking at a difference of about 70,000 litres, I'm guessing 70,000 litres more, but that's on a harvest of over 1 million litres, so it's quite a small difference in relation to kind of the overall yield, but it is different. We got more, yeah, about 60,000 litres more, which would seem a lot if we weren't harvesting over 1 million litres. So that means we can max out the production and have a similar amount to sell directly. So yeah, pretty nice considering. So we started with $300,000. We've got $140,000 in the bank at the moment, and we've got the field that we brought, which was about $250,000. So even after 1 year, we are pretty cash positive before we sell everything, and we've got crop left to sell as well, which actually I have not accounted for in the analysis that I've done, which might explain one of the differences actually. So I do need to update what I've done, so make a note of that. I say thanks to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this mini series, click the like button. So there'll be a follow-up video on the results. Any comments, questions or suggestions, stick them below. If you aren't, think about subscribing, click that little button, ring the bell, as a certain Mr. Pemberton says. There we've got 2 full ones and one with 100,000 litres in, so pretty nice actually with how much we got off of that. A little bit more. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think the summary video will be pretty short, so yeah, I will see you next time for that.